everybody, it's Heather Nichols. Love is in the air and Valentine's Day is on its way. I have a project to share with you today to get you in the Valentine's inspiration mode using the Flip the Script Love Stamp and Die combo set. My project also uses the Banner Year Love set. That one also has stamps and dies included all together. I'm using the Set the Scene Cloud Strip stencils. This is my first time using this stencil set and I'm pretty excited about it. The Heart to Heart stencil I'll be using an ink blending tool, a blender brush of course. The ink colors I used for this project are Strawberry Milkshake, Cherry Pop, Sugar Cube, and I also used a black ink as well. I'll be adding some of the cute little bits and pieces heart confettis, and I'll attach those with some liquid adhesive. I'm creating the cloud background first using Toffee cardstock and Sugar Cube ink, and I've sprayed some pixie spray on the back of the cloud strip stencil that I'm using for this project. I'm moving the stencil down the project as I work and applying the Sugar Cube ink with an ink blending tool and moving the stencil back and forth to get variation in the different cloud shapes down the whole background of the card. My final finishing touch to my cloud background was to add a few spatters of Sugar Cube ink by pressing the ink pad onto an acrylic black, picking it up with a paintbrush and spattering it across the background. Next, I'll apply hearts to my cloud background using the Heart to Heart stencil, a blender brush, and Cherry Pop ink. I sprayed pixie spray on the back of the stencil so that it stays still on my project while I apply the ink, and I'll use the blender brush to apply the Cherry Pop ink through the stencil. Now that the background is complete, I'm stamping the little hot air balloon from the Flip the Script Love stamp set. I'm setting this up in my MISTI and stamping the hot air balloon onto a piece of Sugar Cube cardstock. I set the balloon where I wanted it on the cardstock, closed the lid of the MISTI, and picked up the stamp. I'll ink up the stamp with Strawberry Milkshake ink and close the lid to stamp the impression onto the cardstock. The Love is in the Air sentiment will fit perfectly onto the reverse sentiment in the balloon image, and I want to stamp that sentiment using Cherry Pop ink. I'm setting up a piece of acetate in my MISTI so I can see exactly where my sentiment is going. So I have that taped in there with some purple tape. I set the sentiment down and picked it up with the lid of my MISTI, and I'm stamping the sentiment onto the piece of acetate first using the Cherry Pop ink. This is going to be my guide for where the sentiment is going to stamp on my balloon. I added some adhesive to the back of my stamped balloon, and then I'm going to move that image around under the piece of acetate and line it up with the stamped sentiment on the acetate. When I get it where it is all lined up, I'll just press my image down because I have that adhesive on the back so it'll stay where I want it to in my MISTI. I'll flip that acetate up, ink up my sentiment stamp, and close the lid of my MISTI to stamp the sentiment onto the hot air balloon. Next, I'll use the coordinating die to cut out the hot air balloon image to use on my project. I chose the Happy Valentine's Day sentiment from the Banner Year Love set to stamp across the bottom of my background on my card. I'll take my background and set it in my MISTI, line up the sentiment where I would like it to go on my background. I'll close the lid of the MISTI to pick up the stamp and just make sure everything is looking straight. I'll ink up the stamp with black ink and then stamp it onto my project by closing the lid of the MISTI. Now it's time to finish things up and put this card together. I added the background to a Strawberry Milkshake card base, and then I'll add the hot air balloon to the background using some dimensional foam squares just so it pops up a little bit. I added a few die cut hearts that I die cut from Strawberry Milkshake cardstock using the Banner Year Love heart dies. I'm scattering those around the balloon. I put stick it on the back of the cardstock before I die cut the hearts to make adding the hearts to my project really quick and easy. Once the hearts are arranged how I want them, I will make sure they are adhered down and then trim off the parts of the hearts that are extending beyond the edge of the card front. I added just a touch of shimmer and shine to this project by using the bits and pieces full of heart. This is the one that's like little heart confettis, and I attached those across, kind of sprinkled in with those Strawberry Milkshake hearts by using a little bit of liquid adhesive. I hope you enjoyed this bit of Valentine's Day crafting inspiration using the Flip the Script Love stamp set. You can find all of the supplies that I used to create this project at the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com. Thanks for joining me, everybody, and I'll see you next time.